Okay, everyone, good to see you. I am live again. This is an impromptu live stream. I did not advertise this. Reason mostly is because I just got my internet back up and running over the last couple of hours. And so I wanted to get in a live stream with everybody to let you all know that I'm doing just fine and life is okay here. It is, what is it, Thursday morning, the 20th of February. If you can hear me, make sure my audio is okay. Hi, good. All right, great. It's just another, as you know, Groundhog Day here. But yeah, my internet was kind of faulty over the last week or so, and a lot of you were very supportive and sweet and commenting, "Hey, where are you? Are you okay?" I'm doing just fine. Nothing has changed. Hello, John Smith. Thank you for joining. There's many things that I'll update you on. I released a video yesterday about just me in the town, driving around, looking at the economy, just through my own eyes, my own lenses, and seeing what's happening. I'm going to do that again today. That video I filmed about 4 days ago on Monday, and today's Thursday, and so I'm going to go out again today because I can leave every 3 days. So I'm going to go out again this evening and do a little shopping for some food. And I also plan on going for a walk in the city. There's rumors out that the malls have reopened. I don't know if the stores are in the mall are open, but the malls themselves, some of them have restarted full operation. And many of the roadblocks are down. And I did see that some of the roadblocks were coming down. In my city of Zhongshan, I just checked the numbers this morning. Cumulative were 66 people total who have contracted the virus. That's according to the government. Of those, 40 of them have been released. So right now there are 26 people currently identified in my city of 3.5 million. So we're hoping, this is not Wuhan. This is not Hubei province. This is just my little city in Guangdong. City's government has different ways of handling this health crisis, as they call it. So, hey there, I was starting to worry about you a little bit. Good to see you're okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You don't have to worry about me. I am doing just fine. As you know, I've been trying out a lot of new cooking recipes, cleaning, feeding the kitties, and going running on the running track and shooting hoops. That's pretty much it. I do take some Chinese lessons, and I still do my English app occasionally for my students. But other than that, it's the same old, same old. Watching a lot of movies. I kind of got sick of watching the James Bond movies, so I switched to the Alien series. Started with, Alien, then Aliens, and then Alien 3, and then it kind of Alien Resurrection just kind of fell off the deep end a little bit, right? Then I went back and watched Prometheus and Alien Covenant, and that was a great bunch of sci-fi. I love science fiction movies, and especially the newer ones. They've done a really good job with it. So glad to see you. Thank you very much. Of course, I'm just fine. So we can talk about whatever you want. You're braver than me. I don't think I'm that brave. I just don't feel scared. I think it's normal. The thing with viruses and sicknesses, and this coronavirus is no different than these other ones that we as human beings have to deal with on a regular basis. Everyone's talking about this coronavirus. People who work for the CDC and the WHO are dispatched all over the world to contain or to study thousands of outbreaks, thousands of viruses, and it's very normal part of life. This is what life is. George Carlin had a great sign. That's the whole meaning of life, right? Is not dying. And that's why we eat healthy and we exercise and we try to live healthy lives so that we can have long, healthy lives and ward off these infections and ailments and viruses when they come along. By the way, what do you think of this? I haven't grown my hair out this long in about 8 or 9 years now. I'm not a big fan of it. You can see it's losing my. I got a little bald spot right there. I've always had a big forehead, but it's not clean or anything because it's just been growing out for the last couple of weeks now. Maybe uh, I don't know if I'm gonna keep it. So it's long for me, man. I've had long hair before, and a long beard, but it's just something I might as well do while I'm stuck here alone, right? No one else can see me except all of you guys. Alien was yeah, it was good. I actually prefer James Cameron's Aliens style, I guess. And I actually really like the new Ridley Scott Prometheus and Alien Covenant. That timeline's really good. Cheers, everybody. Good morning. I have my smoothie. Today is banana and strawberry with some pineapple and, of course, some plain yogurt. Got to stay healthy in these times, right? I love George Carlin. It's a big club and you're not in it is one of my favorite quotes. Yes, that comes from, I don't remember, was it You Were All Diseased or something? I am a huge fan of George Carlin. I've seen all his shows. I've read all his books. And what an amazing mind that man. That's another thing, but 17 times. And different countries have different amounts of rights. And but rights there's no such thing as rights. They're just temporary privileges. And I definitely see that. It looks all right. Okay. Oh, thank you very much. I think it looks okay. But, most of my life, the military shaved my head, not bricked it, but, I always had like a buzz cut and I've just kind of gotten used to it. And it's much easier. You just wake up and go. You don't have to style it. So, but in the meantime, who cares? Love George Carlin. I saw him in concert back in the day. I got to see Carlin too. It was a birthday present. I can't remember which one, 20th or 29th. And we were in Las Vegas for my brother's wedding. And it was the same week as my birthday. And my parents surprised me with front row seats to see George Carlin at Bally's. And I'll never forget it. It was freaking awesome. And at the time, I was a smoker and I was trying to learn about smoking cigars. And he had a bit about how smoking cigars is really stupid. And my parents were giving me, oh, see, Carlin says it's bad too. Okay. Being bald shows wisdom. They also say that these lines here, they call these, wisdom lines, right? Not wrinkles, but wisdom lines. Cheers, having coffee here. I want a cup of coffee. When I went out on Monday, I went shopping. I had a hamburger. These are like my little me saying. It's pretty much all I can do in the town, anyways. But the coffee shop closed right in front of me. I got there just a little bit too, and I closed down at like 5 or 6 p.m. So I just missed it. I have drip coffee here from Japan, but it's still it's not the same. I kind of like my Starbucks. Good comedy to watch. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Absolutely, that's a standard Thanksgiving movie. And every Thanksgiving we watch that one. It's a great one. I love those old road trip movies. It's 3 a.m. here in South Africa. Going to see my girlfriend in a few hours. Supposed to be sleeping, but Walkabout Rojo videos, live impromptu thing because my internet finally came up late last night, and it seems to be a strong. It was gone. It was down for like 6 days, and I kept on that. Why is the internet down? Why is the internet down? And they said, "Oh, we'll get to it. We'll get to it." And they finally got to it yesterday. In Kansas here. Hey, welcome. I love the Midwest. I lived in the Dakotas for many years. I explored the Midwest of the United States from top to bottom. And I love the Midwest of America. What do you look like? What you don't look a day over 25. Thank you. No, I am 40. I'm almost 41. So, Moisturizing, moisturizing. That's what they say. I have very sensitive skin. I'm very white, fair skinned, right? So I got to stay out of the sun as it is. And every day I have to put on sunblock or else I get skin cancer. It's just one of those things about being as fair skinned as I am. And you stay out of the sun. I go into the sun when I go hiking and everything, but I don't suntan or anything like that. Could you maybe talk a little bit about driving in China? How did you get your license and how was the test? That's a great question. Thank you so much. Now, it's different for everybody, so I'll tell you mine. I have an American driver's license, and in China, you can drive in. You can get a Chinese driver. You have to have a Chinese driver's license to drive here. The international permit doesn't work, and so the country does not recognize any other kind of licenses. You have to have one in the country. So the first step in that, if you don't have a driver's license in your home country, you got to go through a whole different set of things. And it's basically have to do the exact same thing that the local Chinese people need to do. And it's long process, and it will be very difficult if you do not have any language skills. For me, it was relatively easy, except for one part. The first thing you have to do is get a translation of your driver's license into Chinese. And then you have to get that notarized by the Chinese government. Now, that was the hardest part for me, was navigating that office. Because at the time, even today, my Chinese is still not that great. But at the time, my Chinese was horrific. And even though I had a friend come with me to help navigate through this system, even for her, it was very difficult. And she's a local. So getting that whole done would took a long time, and just making sure you had all the paperwork that you need as a foreigner. And then you have to register a Chinese name, an official Chinese name, because you can't use your foreign name on a Chinese driver's license. You have to have a Chinese name. And you guys know my Chinese name. So, so getting all that done was the hardest part. Once that was done, then I could go computer-based test. I think it's 100 questions. Now you can take it in Chinese, and if there's a rule, if you are a foreigner and you want to take it in Chinese, you're allowed someone to come with you as an interpreter, and that's how most foreigners do it. And you can understand how it works from there. I took mine in the English version, which is not a great translation. Because many of the words that they use are synonyms, especially in the answers. So you could choose the right answer, but because it's the wrong word, it's a synonym for the correct answer, then you get the question wrong. So there's all these practice tests online that you just click through and take. And I spent 2 or 3 days taking practice tests after practice tests and learning, okay, for this question, they want this particular word and not the synonym for it. And so I was able to do very well in the test. I think I scored like a 96. I got like 4 questions wrong, and that's in the English version. So it's very possible. I'm not a genius, and picked up my license. You just have to make sure all your paperwork is in order, and like copies of everything in triplicate, because there are no copy machines at an item. And if you're missing one copy of one piece of paper, then they tell you, go get that next, and then you lose your place in line. So that is the time when you drive here, it opens up the world a lot more. You're not confined to public transportation or DD or the range of your e-bike. So, and then when you get your license, you can rent cars, which is very, very easy to do. Yeah, so I'm going to take a sip. Hope that answers your question. Good. Love that movie. John Candy was really a great comedian. Yeah, I miss John Candy. Steve Martin is touring again. Good. I love Steve Martin too, man. Roll Tide from Alabama. Glad you're doing well. Watched your most recent video today. Spooky. Yeah, at night last night was fine. It was really quiet, but it was kind of stormy here this week. And when the wind blows, when there's students, close it. And when the wind blows, they close all the doors and all the windows and everyone hunkers down. But when there's nobody here to do that, they're just left open to bang and shutter and stuff all night long and all day long. And I don't have the key to these other dorm rooms. They're all locked up. and it's usually the balcony doors or the internal doors that are slamming shut and closing. And I told security about it, but they haven't done anything. So it's part of life here. It can be a little spooky when you're having a bad dream and you wake up at 2 a.m. Boom, bang, bang, bang. And you're like, okay, I'm cool. Hey, they given a time frame for being able to travel freely again? No, they haven't. I'm still waiting on that. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to talking about today. Is just in the last day or so, there are reports from my friends here in town who are going out and walking around, see photos and pictures and video of them. The roadblocks are being torn down and the malls are reopening, but still, and more people are going to work. They've been working from home a lot for the last week or so. But as far as restaurants are still closed, as far as the dining area is concerned, you still cannot go and sit down and eat someplace. Everything is to go. So when I get a hamburger, I have to go eat it in my car because it's too cold to eat outside anyways. But there's still many restrictions on citizens leaving their communities. So a lot of the local communities and villages have set up their own kind of entry and exit entry and exit policies, but the large gardens and everything have kind of followed the guidelines given by the city government. And there's still many restrictions. For me, it's once every 3 days. I've heard some communities one member of the family once every other day can go out, but you can also apply for special departure. Basically, it's online. You say, hey, I'd like to leave, and then you can go out. I don't have that ability. I'm never asked, never needed it, but I know that. And if you work at a factory that's trying to open, or if you work at a retail shop or Starbucks or something, and you have to go to work every day, then your first day that you leave, you have to get a note from your employer basically stating, yes, this is his work hours and this person needs to be at work on this time every day. And so that's what they use to leave the communities. But I'm hoping it would make sense that the communities would start to loosen these travel restrictions within the local city itself. If I were to leave now, I can go to Zhuhai or Guangzhou if I wanted to. I don't know why I would. There's nothing going on there right now. But, that you have freedom to travel between cities. I can leave. I can go to Thailand tomorrow if I wanted to. So the freedom of travel is there. It's just coming in and out of your local community. Once you're out of your local community, you can go wherever you want. But you can only go out and come back in once every other day. So, any power outages? No, I haven't seen any power outages. Not here at my college. I haven't heard of any. Do you know anyone in Wuhan? I don't know anyone in Wuhan. I've been to Wuhan. A long time ago, a couple of years ago, and I know people who have gone there for work. I want to go to Wuhan again. I didn't get to see it. I just passed through. I would love to go visit Hubei and come back. Hubei is a different world from the rest of China. China is really big, right? And Hubei province, especially the city of Wuhan, is where 75-80% of this whole thing in the world is taking place. And it doesn't seem like it's getting better. It's slowing down, I guess, but it continues to get bigger and bigger. You mentioned you're trying new recipes. Any good ones you recommend us trying out? I love cooking. I tried a new fried rice recipe. I made some tacos the other night, and I don't have any salsa at the time, so I threw some carrots in there, some cooked carrots, and that was pretty good. These are just standard recipes, I guess. I have a chicken recipe that I like to make. It's marinated chicken with like a teriyaki sauce, and then I throw some Italian salami on top of it, and I bake it, and that's really good. I made a pasta the other night that was excellent too. I don't bake. I'm trying to stay away from sugar. Do you buy food for those cats as seen in the last videos you uploaded? I felt so happy when I saw that. To me, if someone tries to help stray animals, you deserve the best. Thank you. Yes, I bought them food because nobody else is feeding them. Usually during the rest of the year, the students here kind of handle that. There's like a little makeshift um, den for the cats on the other side of campus with boxes and pillows for them to sleep in. It's under covered so they'll get wet. And you always see, cat food and stuff out there. And the students kind of adopt these cats. There's maybe 8, 9, 10 of them roaming around. It's like a family of them. And they're great to have around. You don't pet them, you don't play with them, but what they do is they keep the rodent population down. So having a few wild cats on your campus is just fine. And so, but they're really hungry. And I thought, could I feed them rice? What can I feed these cats? And I was just giving them strips of bacon for a while, but I didn't have enough bacon to feed all of them. So last time I was out, I got some actual cat food, and I go out and I feed them once a day. The ones that are there. I don't get all 8 or 9 of them at one time. Usually it's 2 or 3 waiting outside my door every day, waiting to be fed. I made an Excel spreadsheet compiling daily affected deaths and revive red line of the virus. Each day, the death and recovery rate is dropping. It's slowly getting better. I've seen many of those spreadsheets out there. They're very easy to make, and you try to calculate the R naught. And I agree. I don't think that this virus is a big deal. As big a deal. It's still serious. Any virus, any sickness is serious. The flu, the common cold, these are serious illnesses. But I don't see this as being the zombie apocalypse virus, as you all know my opinion about this. And the denominator on all of those spreadsheets is the confirmed cases. And I will concede, and the government concedes, and everyone seems to think that the denominator is actually much higher, that there are more people out there that have this. They're either asymptomatic, meaning they don't have any symptoms and might never have symptoms, or they just have a little sniffle, their natural immune system. It's always the people with underlying problems, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, things like this, and that's going to be common with any virus that somebody gets. If you have other underlying health issues, getting a common cold or the flu, especially as you get older and your immune system isn't as strong, that's life. It's pragmatic, I think. But yeah, those denominators are much higher. Many more people have this, and they just don't know it, and they will never know. So they had you toss out all your chicken, but you were able to buy it in the stores. Yeah, it was one day where it made the news for like one day, the H1N1 outbreak in Hunan. And they said, throw out all your chicken. They actually came to my door and said, you have chicken? And I said, yeah, I got some chicken breasts frozen in my freezer. I said, okay, well, let's go get rid of it just to be safe. But you go to the supermarket now and there's plenty of chicken. It was contained, apparently, that it was just a couple chickens in some poultry farm in Hunan that tested positive for it. They killed all the chickens. But they said, because you don't know where your chicken comes from, get rid of it. But yeah, I can go to the store and I have new chicken in my freezer right now. Oh, wow. That's great that the students do that. Yes, it is. We always had cats on farm. Very good for keeping pests away. Me too. My family always had outdoor cats. We tried to think that they were our cats, but nobody owned these cats. We took them to the vet. We gave them a collar, but they were outdoor cats, and they just roamed the neighborhood, avoiding the coyotes so that they don't get eaten by the coyotes from the mountains. And they were great for keeping pests away. What is the climate like where you live? It looks green and warmer than. Yeah, I live in Guangdong, southern part of China. It's subtropical. Right now it's wintertime, so we're looking at. It's been cold the last couple of days. It's at night. It's gotten below 10 degrees Celsius. And but during the day it gets up to about 20 degrees Celsius with a little bit of humidity. And this is our winter. This summer is brutally hot and brutally humid. Uh, for me, I'm from LA where it's hot, but it's not humid. It's a dry heat and pretty temperate. Of course, spring and fall are absolutely gorgeous. They're Goldilocks moments here. Jump shot improving? No, it's not. I still suck. Cats can eat low sugar vegetables if you run out of cat food. Okay, cool. Didn't know that. Comparing recovered is a number type error. Yeah. There's a million of people out there that, have opinions and conjectures and say, oh, don't trust these numbers, trust my numbers, trust my speculation. And it's all noise as far as I'm concerned. All I can do is go off the everyone is watching Japan, which has a ton of cases now, both on the ship and outside. Yeah, I think that's a good barometer of what's going to happen. I think that ship is so unfortunate. People were stuck there. They had that other ship in Hong Kong where they actually got everybody off, tested them, got everybody off, but they've kept everyone on that ship in Japan, and it's just allowed to fester there. And it's very unfortunate. You're going to see a lot of backlash come out of that one. H1N1 is bad this year. It's like half the flu cases. Oh, they actually have H1N1. Look, these are viruses and these are diseases and illnesses that we as humans have to put up with every year. It's part of life. And, even if coronavirus goes away like SARS did, great, wonderful. If it stays here, it's just something that we're going to have to live with and deal with. There's a bug. And it'll be part of our lives here now. Just like MERS is still part of life in the Middle East. I think people have attributed malice regarding the numbers, but honestly, it happened so fast. It's likely it just became more important to address the needs of the people and worry about reporting the numbers. Maybe it's crisis management, and this bug is driving me crazy. It's crisis management. In crisis management, there's always going to be problems. Nothing is ever going to go perfect, and you can't judge a society, compare it with perfection. Well, I guess you can if you want a base mark, but what is perfection? That's very subjective anyways. So things are going to go wrong, things are going to go right. It's crisis management. The government and the doctors don't want people to be sick and don't want people to die. That's human nature. Okay. And yes, they do care. And they're making decisions and trying their best to keep people safe and healthy. And, there's nothing wrong. I think their intentions are quite good. Whether or not it's the correct policy, we can debate that, and we will be debating that for many, many years to come. This is going to be a great case study in outbreak management, crisis management, population control. Take a look at for a very, very long time. So it's fascinating to watch from an academic standpoint. And I really am doing that. That's how I'm trying to look at it from an academic standpoint rather than an emotional conspiracy theory standpoint that I see a lot of out there. That's the concerning thing that I see. There's so much emotion involved in this that you just have to take a step back and look at it a little bit more objectively in your own objective light. Everyone has a different, different lens of the world. Hotel manager, and I have a lot of education in business. And I'm a student of geopolitical macroeconomics. That's my lens, my focus. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert in China. I'm not an expert in virology. But I can give you my opinions and show you what I see through my eyes. And that's all anyone else can do too. All right. I think people have if they can just track down the original bat or pangolin, a cool animal, by the way, that pangolin. I never even heard of it until this came out. Then they solve this problem when it changes nothing. Maybe. Get your flu shot. Helps against H1N1. Yeah, sure. Always get a flu shot every year. They're cheap. Go get it. I get mine every year. Even here in China, I get one. Yes, that cruise ship was a disaster and could create a serious problem in Japan. I agree. Hopefully, it doesn't attribute to the general population of Japan. It's pretty isolated on that ship. Singapore's and most people in China, not just the foreigners, but Chinese citizens as well, have just kind of moved around to different countries. But those who, and I have this option too. They said, "Hey, why don't you go to Thailand and sit on a beach for the next couple of weeks? It's I'm not gonna be doing anything." Uh, you guys know why I'm not leaving. I'm not gonna abandon my friends here to go sit on a beach. I've noticed that all the WeChat moments, on Facebook and social media, people take pictures of them sitting on a beach and eating exotic foods and riding the elephants and all that kind of crap and snorkeling. There are so many people down there right now, but they're not posting on social media what they're doing. They know better, because the rest of us here in China are locked up in our homes. So we just be jealous. By the way, for my school, the latest word that I have gotten, and it changes every couple of days, it seems, was the school term will start on March 2nd. This is for my college. But I won't have any actual physical classes until the end of April. The first 8 weeks of the term will all be online. And I said, "Oh wow," because I'm a lecturer. I'm an oral English teacher. How can I take my lesson plans and my PPTs and my lesson videos and make it into online content? So I spent a couple of days fiddling with it and trying to do this. And then I said, well, wait a minute. And are they just going to look at my stuff online and self-study, or am I going to have to give like a live lecture streaming to the students? So a couple of days later, they came back to me and they said, well, maybe not. Okay. So for your classes, you won't have to teach online. You would still give us the material. Well, I have to submit my material anyways for approval with the administration department, the English department. I do that anyways, my syllabus and all that stuff. But as far as those first 8 weeks, I have no idea. I don't know when the students are coming back, and I don't know if I'll be giving my live lectures in a lecture hall or if I'm not doing anything for the first 8 weeks. And I don't think the school knows either. They just have a plan now, and they're going to continue to refine that plan as things evolve and develop over the next couple days and weeks. So that's where I'm at right now. I have my lesson plans ready to go for the term. I'm still fiddling with them a little bit. They take an awful lot of work to put these lesson plans together. And I'll give a lecture and I say, okay, well, that works, but that doesn't. So I'm going to go revise that little aspect of it. So I change my lecture slightly, ever so slightly, as the more often I give them. And so even my lesson plans are not set in stone. They are also evolving. And if I change it so much that it's no longer part of the original syllabus, I have to resubmit a new syllabus. We as a society could invest more in vaccine preemptively and public health generally. A drug company might not see a profit on the vaccine on their balance sheet, but the world economy benefits. I agree. And I know there's a lot of government subsidies for things like, public health. But you can do that, but especially in a place like America, there's all this anti-vaccination campaign out there, so even though there's a consensus that, vaccinations are good, not everyone does get vaccinated. In flu vaccinations in America are still relatively low. Not everyone is getting vaccinated, and that's another reason probably why you see such a huge spike this year. It's bad every year. This year is much worse than it has been in recent years, but it was bad a couple of years ago. I won't deny I have concerns about this. More on the side, people will panic if too many cases show up. I agree. The panic is the real problem. The response to things like this, I think, is more dangerous than the virus itself. If you look at numbers of the virus, that's life. Okay. But panic buying of food, stocking up on guns, and, you know, I grew up always in Southern California where you always are prepared for the big earthquake, right? In school, you had that big dumpster with all kinds of canned food and applesauce and things like that, right? And my family always had MREs and canned food on stock just in case, some way of protecting yourself. If there is a big earthquake or the zombie apocalypse in America, and you gather all kinds of food and water, and you don't have a gun, then all you're doing is gathering food and water for the biggest guy on the block. So that's kind of always been my philosophy and my family's philosophy when it comes to gun ownership. And everyone in my family, and my father made sure of this, is educated on the proper way to use guns and how to shoot. And I was a Boy Scout. Of course, I was a troop as well. But as important part of life, protect your family. On our South Africans living in China Facebook page, many of them would rather stay in China with the virus than come back to the country. I have a lot of South African friends. I've met a lot of South African people while here in China, and I'll be the first to admit I don't know anything about that country. I know the general history of apartheid. Great book, give you great perspective on South Africa. But what's going on there now, the only news that I have are from my friends who here in China who are from South Africa. And I hear things can be really rough there. So I have many South African teacher friends who are teachers here that are actually back in Africa right now, enjoying the freedom. Have you been to the far north, northeast of China, such as Dalian? No, I haven't. The furthest north I've been is Wuhan and Shanghai. I haven't been to Tianjin, Xi'an, Beijing, or anything further north than that. It is a place that I would love to go. Spring Festival this year, I planned on traveling through China. And this whole year, I plan on staying in China and exploring more of China. I've done the Southeast Asia thing already. There's still a couple countries I haven't explored yet, and I'll get to them. But while I'm in China, I'd love to see China. China is so big. There's so much to do and see here. Yeah, 8 weeks. You have that military mindset, hence why you can stay in China and fight it out. Not many people have the mental strength to do so. Fear gets the better of many. I agree. Maybe I guess it is a military mindset. The military did teach me a lot. But I also know many military people who are conspiracy theorists and are very fearful as well. It's not a one size fits all glove. Do you still get paid the same if you're teaching over the net? Yes. I have a contract. I'm a government worker. I get paid whether I work or not. That's how it works. I mean, even the government came down and said, okay, if you have a business, private enterprise, you still have to pay your employees full salary. This has broken the back of many small businesses who were struggling to begin with, or just don't have the capital to sustain 1 month of no revenue. So they just packed up their bags. They just closed up shop. That's happened a lot. I know a lot of training centers in the ESL community. Many teachers have been let go. They've just said, okay, we're not reopening, or they can't open for another month or so. So they've been closed for 6 weeks, 2 months. And training centers are, boom and bust kind of industry anyways. And it's not just English training centers. It's also art training centers, music, whatever you're into. And so these teachers have been let out of their contract and they're kind of to the wind. Now, a lot of them have flocked to the online platforms that pay pretty decent. I don't like teaching online. It's not my thing. And many, many students are going, they're stuck at home. And they can't go back. It's a bug. They can't go back to work. So that's kind of where the industry is. It's kind of fueled that a lot more. But these training centers that have folded technically will reopen someday and rehire the ESL teachers. But there's very few of us left. Those foreigners that are still in China, there's very few of them that have stayed hunkered down like me. Most of them have taken off and left. They've either gone back to their home country or they're sitting in Thailand. I have many, many friends who are all throughout Thailand right now. And to be honest with, they're kind of getting stir crazy in Thailand. They want to come back to China, but not if China, they sit in their apartment like this. The ones that are still here have family here, children and wives and stuff. So they're not leaving their families. Let's see. Yeah, it's annoying. Hard to get funding. A lot of big charities are funding vaccines for this virus, like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, when it should be us too. Yeah. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is gigantic, and they fund a lot of shit all throughout the world. How's it going? Finally back online. Yes, I am. Thanks, Max. All residential blocks and checkpoints were removed overnight last night. Thanks, Max. Max is a guy who lives here in town. I think you live in Xiaolan, right? If you can get out of your garden, you're free to roam the city. I still saw a lot of. I'm going to go out tonight, by the way, and check it. Many of the communities have blocked off with